Alright guys, so for this look today, we're going to start with our eyebrows. You really want to make sure that you're not using a shade that's too dark or too light for your skin tone. I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow Pomade in the shade Dark Brown, which this shade is just, I would say, at least one shade lighter than my natural hair color, because I do want my brows to define my face, but I don't want them to be the very first thing that people see when they look at me. I want them to really blend well with my face and my hair color. So let's go ahead and dip in. The very first thing that you want to do when you start your eyebrows is take a spoolie, and you're going to go from the front end of your brows. You're going to brush up when you're towards the front. As you get towards the back end of your brows, you're going to go in the natural shape that your brows follow. So you're just going to follow that natural shape and go ahead and shape the hairs with the spoolie. Now you're going to take an angled brush. This can be any brush with an angle. Just make sure it's nice and thin and can get the small areas in your brows. Skim the Dipbrow pomade. We're going to start from the beginning of the brow right underneath. You're going to start at the front with a light hand and brush it back. As you get towards the back end of your eyebrows, that's when you can put a little bit more pressure down to really define that shape. We're just making light strokes with the brush using the product. And if you have sparse eyebrow hairs, this is what's really going to help to make it look like you have naturally filled in brows. Even though we're using a product, you can still make it look natural by the way that you form the mimicked hairs on your eyebrows. Fill in that shape. While you're doing this, take a spoolie occasionally, brush up just as we did in the beginning, back, and really shape your brows with this, because the spoolie is what helps to blend the pomade and your natural eyebrow hairs. It's just like with eyeshadow, the more you blend, the more natural it's going to look. So we've got this shape. Now we're going to dip into the pomade one more time. Just like that, and we're going to take the spoolie, brush up and back. I'm going to move on to filling in the other brow. Now that I've got both eyebrows filled in with the Dipbrow pomade, I'm going to show you guys how I clean up my brows and further define them using concealer. Now, since this is a full coverage Glam with the rose gold pinks, I'm going to use a lighter concealer so that I can make sure that I can get the most pigment out of those shades. You're just going to place a sheer coat of concealer, sheer defined by each to its own. You're going to put it right on your brow bone. You're going to take a flat concealer brush, just like this, and you're going to blend that out. Be careful right under your eyebrow, because we just did all that work with filling them in. So you want to make sure that you're just right underneath and not going past your natural brow bone. This concealer is going to serve as a base for our eyeshadow, so you want to make sure you get it all over your eye. Just as you were doing when you were filling your brows in, take your spoolie and brush up those eyebrows. This will also help in seeing where your brow bone is. Now I'm going to take a more natural shade, which would be my foundation shade, and I'm going to define the top of my brows. This step isn't necessary if you already have defined eyebrows, but I don't, so I really have to make sure that I shape these properly. Again, taking the spoolie to blend that out. I'm satisfied with that brow shape. Now I'm going to move on to the next brow. I'm going to dip into the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. I'm going to start with the shade Tempera for my brow bone highlight. It looks like it's the lightest color in the palette for that. Tap off the excess. I'm going to place it right on my brow bone and then sweep out. The shade does have some shimmer in it, so I'm not going to use too much of that shade. I'm going to move on to a blending brush, and I'm going to start with the shade Orange Soda. I'm going to shift over to another blending brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Burnt Orange. Really make sure that you're staying in the crease for this. You don't want to be too high or too low, so right in between, which is right under your brow bone and right above your eyelid. That's the area you want to stay when you're blending these shadows. Circular motions towards the outside. Sweep it in like a window wiper. All right, now I'm going to take the same blending brush and I'm going to dip into Rustic. Circular motions, sweep it in. Dip into Rustic one more time. Now I'm going to dip into Sienna. The more time you take blending, the more blown out it's going to look, which is what you want. I'm going to pick up a more dense blending brush and I'm going to pick up the shade Mulberry. This one is a deep cranberry, which I think will complement the rose gold well. Dip into Mulberry, place, circular motions, sweep it in. Now I'm going to take another blending brush and I'm going to dip into Cypress Umber, and that's going to be the last shade that I use in the crease. This one I'm keeping lower because it's darker, so I don't want it as high. I'm going to switch back to the first brush that I used, go back into Sienna just to blend the darker transition shades with the lighter ones, and just blend that out. So that's my eye blended out. We're going to do the next eye. Now that we've got eyeshadow on both eyes in both creases, we're going to work on the lid now, and we're going to go into the same concealer that we used to define our eyebrows. We're going to place that all over the lid. Be really careful with this. You don't want to get this into your crease. You just want it on the lid. So there's a natural line that ends where your eyelash line is, and it begins right under your crease. Just go ahead and place the concealer, and then I'm going to go back into my flat paddle brush to really help define that line. want the lid color to really pop, so that's why we do this step. If you're going for a more subtle glow, then you don't necessarily need to do this, but I want the most out of this shimmery eyeshadow. Now I'm going to go into a flat topper brush. I'm going to dip into rose pink, and we're going to take that all over the lid. And we're going to go back into a transition brush and make sure that doesn't go into the crease. Okay guys, that's my eyeshadow done. Now we're going to move on to eyeliner and mascara. I'm going to go in with the NYX Matte Liquid Liner, and I'm just going to make a thin line right on my lash line. I'm going to take that eyeliner, tilt my head back just a little bit, start on the inner corner where your lashes begin, and then remember, slowly incline up to make that wing. Once you've got that shape, you can go ahead and dip back in and then fill that line in. Go from the outer corner where my lash line ends and connect that wing. Dip back in one more time. Just like that. If your wing does get a little out of place, give it time to dry down. Take your flat concealer paddle brush and just go over the areas where it went a little bit out of control. Now we're going to move on to the other eye and then mascara. Now I'm just going to coat my lashes with a light coat of mascara. This is the Maybelline Sensational, right before I put on my false lashes. Just a light coat because we don't want wet lashes when we put on the falsies. Just like that. Now we're going to place the false lashes on. Alright guys, take that lash from above, place a mirror under your eyelashes, and then push it down. Okay guys, that's my eyeshadow and my eyes done for now. I'm going to do my face and then I will be right back. Okay guys, now we're just going to finish up the eyes. I'm going to take the Urban Decay Heavy Metal in the shade Midnight Cowboy. This is just going to add a little bit of sparkle to our rose gold glam. So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to make light strokes on my eyelids. If you want a less intense glitter for your eyelid, I would go with this one because it's buildable, whereas the Stila one that I used in my last video, that one is super pigmented straight on. Just like that. Now we're going to look down and let that dry for a little bit. And then I'm going to go into the Too Faced Liquid Glitter Eyeshadow in the shade Sweet Spot. This too is a more subtle glitter if you just want a little bit of sparkle to your eye look. So I'm going to place this carefully in the inner corners of my eye. Just in the inner corners. Now I'm going to take the NYX white eyeliner. This is their retractable eyeliner, and I'm just going to put this in the inner portion of my waterline just to make my eyes pop just a little bit more. Now I'm going to take the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara and I'm going to put that on my bottom lashes. Okay, that is my eyes done. Now to complete this look, I'm just going to add some lip gloss. I'm going to use the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline. Okay guys, that is my makeup look done. Thank you so much for watching and stay beautiful.